Hey guys, Akhtar from Reaching Excellence, and in this video I'm going to be sharing with you how to grow a group of companies. Now, I'm not in my usual location in London. I'm actually in beautifully sunny and very hot and sticky Dubai. I'm actually down by the beach in Jumeirah Beach, JBR, so there's going to be quite a bit of background noise, a bit of wind noise and so forth, so I apologize in advance if the audio on this video isn't on point, but the content will be. So in this video, I'm going to go and break down step by step how to grow a group of companies. Now, for those of you who don't know me, I've been an entrepreneur for over 20 years. I've got a background in property, and I made that transition from property as a successful property entrepreneur into M&A over the last 4 years. I've got a background in business psychology. I'm the author of the Code of Reaching Excellence. I run the Reaching Excellence Academy, and it's my mission to help every man, every woman who wants to level up and build wealth so they can go live their dream life. Now, as it stands today, I've been a bit quiet on social media for the last few months, and the reason for that is because I've been growing a group of companies with my business partners. We've currently got 11. I think we've got 12, the 12th one on its way, and that group is all construction related, and that group has got projected turnover of £30 million. And we've done that in a relatively short space of time. So that's what qualifies me to kind of tell you what I am doing. And I don't want to talk about the structure or the legal structure of those companies. What I want to talk to you more about is actually the step-by-step process that we went through to actually build that group of companies, okay? So that's what I want to go through. So part of the reason also that I'm out in Dubai is because I've got clients out here. We're also buying property out here, and we've got some strategic investors. So over the next sort of 2 or 3 videos, I think this is going to be quite a long video. So I'm going to do this in maybe 2, 3, 4 parts, so I can break down step by step everything that we've done to grow in order to be able to put that group together, okay? So let's dive straight into this. And I want you to stay to the very, very end, because I'm going to break this down step by step so that I give you the blueprint that you can go and follow it and do it too if you want to, okay? So guys, the very first thing that we had to do is have a big shift in mindset. So for those of you who know me well, I transitioned out of property. I was a very successful property entrepreneur for about 20 odd years. I fell out in love with property, and I kind of fell in love with M&A. So we've been involved in M&A now for about 4 years, and making that transition from being a property investor stroke entrepreneur into an M&A business buyer, firstly took a mindset shift. So the first thing that I had to shift was my identity. I had to start seeing myself as more than an entrepreneur. I had to start seeing myself as a CEO. And one of the things that's really important about this, and I think this is something that a lot of the big name gurus do not teach you, they don't go into the depth about the psychology that you need to have in the psychology of sellers. What they do go into depth around is the tactics and the strategies of acquisition. So what I want to tell you about is the biggest thing that I needed to shift, and the biggest thing that I think most people need to shift, including members of our academy, is your sense of identity. So what does that mean? Well, you have to see yourself as a business buyer. You have to see yourself as a business investor, a CEO, an equity partner, whatever it is. You have to have that label that is fitting for the person that you want to become. And here's the reason why this is really important. Now, if you've ever done any personal development, or if you've ever done any kind of coaching or been coached, there's a model out there that says your thoughts generate your feelings and emotions. Your feelings and emotions generate your actions and behaviors. Your actions and behaviors will generate your results. Now, that's a true model, and that's all good and great. But what they fail to tell you is that your thoughts, higher level thoughts, are all going to be governed by your sense of identity, who you see yourself as. Now, there's 2 reasons you want to get this right, because it's almost like your identity and how you see yourself is a high level belief, and whatever you believe becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. So if you believe you're an employee, then even if you try to become an entrepreneur, you'd always self-sabotage and go back and do the behaviors of an employee, and you'll find the behaviors, actions and activities of as an entrepreneur somewhat uncomfortable, okay? So it's important that we become aligned and congruent. The other thing is this: if you're out talking to people and you do not feel like you are the person you want to become, then you feel like an imposter and you feel incongruent. And what will happen is in vendor meetings, when you're dealing with business sellers, they're going to pick up and realize at some level, non-verbally, almost like a subconscious level, that you're not comfortable. So when you take on that sense of identity and say, hey, I'm a CEO, I'm a business investor, I'm a business operator, and you are congruent with that, your results will start to shift, okay? And you will start to feel comfortable taking opportunities, sitting in vendor meets, and you won't have imposter syndrome, okay? That's really, really important. You'll become aligned in terms of your mindset. You'll become congruent in terms of your thought processes and the patterns of behavior. And you'll actually find that it's actually easier to get in front of sellers and actually like conduct those vendor meetings nice and easily, they'll also get a better response because they'll feel that you're aligned and they won't feel that there's any kind of nervousness coming from you. Okay, you don't want imposter syndrome because that scuppers deals and it makes a whole load of stress. Okay, so you need to shift your identity. Okay, so the question you got to ask yourself is, who do you want to become? Who do you want to become? You know, do I want to become a CEO? Do I want to become like an entrepreneur? Whatever label works for you, there's no wrong or right. Now, sometimes people say to me, right, Akhtar, like this is all good, but like I'm too old for this, or my mindset can't change. But look, one of the key things you've got to understand is that identity is malleable. Identity changes over time. Okay, so you know, if you think about it, there was a time when you was a kid, you know, you're a baby, toddler, you know, kid, teenager, young adult, whatever else. At various times in your life, you'll have different identities and different ways you identify yourself with. Okay, you may be a parent, you may be, you know, a grandparent. There's different identities, so we can pick and choose what identity we want to have. It really is that malleable. Okay, and it's also fundamentally important because it's the meta belief, the higher level belief that governs all the other beliefs. So if you've got this idea or understanding or this thought process that you can't change who you are, or your mindset's fixed, or you're too old to change, all that kind of stuff, it's simply not true. Okay, you can change, you can shift your identity. It's down to you to choose what identity you want to have and what identity is going to serve you to do the things that you want to do in terms of business acquisition. Now, one of the other things people say about this is, okay, Akhtar, I'm going to shift my identity, I'm going to become this person, but it feels not true. It feels like I'm being a fake. It feels like I'm being an imposter, okay? And that feels uncomfortable. Well, I want to explain one of the things that we've had to do. One of the things that we teach people to do is to act as if. Now, acting as if is a NLP technique, or it's a frame. What that means is you're not telling yourself to fake it till you make it, because if you tell yourself you're faking it, then you're telling yourself you're a fake. It gives your subconscious mind a bit of a negative message and a negative loop, okay? Doesn't make you feel good. If you start to act as if, your behaviors, if you act as if you are a CEO, you'll start to do the things that a CEO will do, and that will embed and kind of deeper cement in your new identity shift. Okay, so if you start thinking about it, what kind of things would a CEO do? And you know, this is so subjective. You know, what might a CEO do? Maybe they might go and have a hobby of, you know, playing golf. Maybe they're into sailing. Maybe they're into sports cars. You know, maybe there's certain places they frequent. Maybe they go to a cigar lounge. You know, whatever you believe that identity that you want to aspire to become does, those are things that you need to start doing, to start to act as if you are that person. Okay, because when you start to act as if that you're that person, very soon you embody it and you become that person. Okay, I had to act as if I was a CEO, even though we only had a couple of small companies a while back. Now I've gone into that role, I've kind of really embraced it. I really enjoy it. I start to do things like come here and be in Dubai and go have a whole load of fun experiences. And that's helped me to level up my life, but also helped me to level up my business. So, you know, acting as if is not a bad thing. You just take on the role, okay? You take on the role of being the person you want to become, the business person you want to become, or the CEO, or the business investor, whatever label you want to give it, okay? So that's really, really important. That leads us nicely onto the next thing that is an important thing to do, which is it's important to understand status, okay? One of the things that you need to do is to start raising your status, raising your bar. And what do I mean by that? Well, twofold, okay? Firstly, whenever you're going to be in front of let's say a business seller, okay, and you're wanting to buy their business off of you, in the mind of the seller, they have to see you as at least equal, or if not greater status. So what do I mean by that? Well, if you think about it, if you're going to buy someone's business, you're taking the baby and you're going to be nurturing it, okay? And if you're then going to ask for a deferred consideration of any sort, it's like asking for the keys to the Ferrari without being able to prove that you can drive it or maintain it. So you need to come across that you are of a high enough status that you've got experience, you've got knowledge, you've got the resources and the ability to take the Ferrari, drive it sensibly, and, you know, look after it and maintain it, okay? So, you know, you need to make sure that you've got yourself polished up and you look the part and you act the part and you have got yourself skilled up and knowledgeable enough that you can converse at the same level. If you go into a vendor meeting, you're a bit inexperienced and you start talking about stuff, it's going to become very evident that you don't know as much as they do, and it's going to lower your status. So you want to make sure that you raise your status and raise the bar. Now, you might be thinking, okay, well, I'm just new to this, or I haven't done many acquisitions. Well, in that case, go and find other people that can come in with you that have got the experience, or have got the status, or have got the backing to elevate yourself, okay? So status is really, really important. One thing that I've found on a personal level, and I've seen this also with members of the Academy, as you start to up your game, as you start to raise your status, okay, the closing process or closing deals becomes a lot easier, because when you start to say, well, look, here I have this, I have, you know, a property portfolio, we've got like 10, 11 companies, or, you know, I'm moving to Dubai. You know, when you start to say that stuff, or my partner's got this, or my business partner has that, you know, all these things raise the bar. And the reason it's important to like have that status there, to be at least equal or if not greater, is to instill confidence in the seller that you can do the deal, you can run the business, and also you're going to pay them out however you decide that you're going to pay it out, whatever you agree to, okay? So status is really important, okay? And this is more from a psychological mindset point of view, okay? You know, it's not necessary that you turn up with bling or, you know, a helicopter or stuff like that. It's just got to be appropriate for the type of seller that you're dealing with, okay? Status doesn't necessarily mean wealth. It's about positioning, it's about your knowledge, it's about your skill set, it's about your confidence as well, okay? You know, all these things give you status, and really that's so important if you want to get those deals across the line, okay? The next thing that we've had to do, and I think this is one thing that you need to do, right, is to make sure that you are ready to do deals. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, one of the things that we had to do is to get ourselves really polished up to make sure that our online presence, our positioning was congruent, because we'd made that transition from property into M&A. So we started to put things on LinkedIn about all the companies that we had. We started to change our marketing, you know, bios and things like that to tell people what we do. So, you know, one of the things that will happen is if you're going to go do a deal with someone, people will check you out. So you need to make sure that your online presence, your positioning, your personal branding is on point. You need to make sure that, you know, people can find you. They can find you on LinkedIn. They can find you on, you know, various social media platforms. They can find you on Companies House, because people will look. They will do their due diligence on you, and you want to make sure you haven't got anything that's incongruent on there. So what do I mean by that? You don't want anything on there that's like saying, hey, I buy businesses, but over here I've got like, you know, a job doing something, right? You need to make sure that it's congruent and everything's aligned and congruent, okay? And the other thing is, obviously, you don't want anything that's negative or detrimental or derogatory about your character online, or drunken pictures of, you know, you in Ibiza on Facebook, because people can find that kind of stuff, okay? You need to make sure that you've got a professional image, you can be found, there's full transparency, and that's going to instill confidence in people, because people will look you up. I've had people look me up and say, okay, yeah, I've found you, but I haven't found you on this company, or you know, I can't find your overseas company or your Dubai company. Like, how does that work? So you need to make sure people can find you. And if they can't find you for whatever reason, let's say you are based overseas, or you've got an overseas holding company or SPV or whatever it may be, you need to make sure that you can provide people documentation and evidence or certificates of good standing, so they can see that you've got companies abroad, international, whatever else, and that you're all good, okay? So you need to make sure that you are completely visible and you're congruent, and what you do or what you're saying you're doing is on the tin, like the Ron Seal advert, okay? You need to make sure that if you're saying you're doing M&A, that everything online or everything that can be found around you says that you are doing M&A. The minute you have like your fingers in different pies, if they're not quite aligned, let's say for us, for example, all our businesses are construction related. We've got scaffolding, we've got cladding, we've got roofing. We've just got another acquisition that we've taken on, which is quite a large £13 million a year turnover company that is commercial window manufacturing, that's curtain walling, big office buildings and things like that. All that is relevant because it fits in nicely within a group of construction. But if you've got like, hey, I'm buying businesses in IT, but then, you know, you're a chef somewhere, the two things don't quite marry up. And that's going to kind of vandalize your personal brand. If it creates doubt in people, or, you know, even the question it's just going to make it difficult. It gives people this little seed of doubt, and they start to question you, who you are, what you're about, and it just gives people the ick about doing deals, okay? So this is one of the things that we've had to do, and this is one of the things I think is really important to do, okay? The other thing I think is a big thing that everyone needs to do, or I've had to do, and people inside the academy are doing, is you need to start leveling up your mindset around wealth, okay? When we started out, and we got our very first acquisition. Our first scaffolding company was like 200 grand a year turnover. We cut our teeth on that. And when we compared that to what we was doing in property, it was quite a large jump. And, you know, looking back now, I just wouldn't entertain a company that small now. You know, the acquisition that we got going through right now is a 30 million pound a year turnover company, and that's the level that we want to look at. Now, there is a big difference between the kind of owners that you're going to be operating with or dealing with at 200,000 versus 13 mil, but the way that you make that transition is what I'm telling you in this video. You know, you've got to level up your mindset. So one of the things I've had to do is to level up and normalize wealth, okay? And, you know, there was a standard and a bar of wealth that I was used to. I had to push that bar up and go higher. This is why I'm out here. This has become like norm to me now, okay? But there's a time it wasn't. So you have to normalize wealth. You have to normalize large amounts of money. You have to normalize, you know, millions of pounds of turnover. So how do you do that? Go and put yourself in places and environments that there is wealth. Now, you don't have to go out and spend a fortune, but it's going to be good for you to be in environments where there is money, where there is wealth, there is successful people or dynamic people, because you become the sum total of the people that you hang out with, and the environment that you're in has a huge impact on your psychology. So there's a term called environmental hypnosis. So if you're in somewhere like Dubai here, right? What am I seeing? Everywhere you're in Dubai, there is Lambos, there are, you know, Ferraris, there are Rolls Royces. I mean, there's every supercar. They're like Smarties here. They're just everywhere, you know. Went to the mall earlier on today. There's like people queuing up in every designer shop. There's just everything here. This has become the norm to me. Whereas when I was back in the sleepy village back in Kent, there was just like a village superstore, village post office, and a couple of small shops. That was my reality. That was what I was seeing on a day-to-day basis. Nothing wrong with that, but that does not help you to ascend. So one thing you need to do is start normalizing wealth, okay? Start normalizing going to places that are a bit bougie, a bit more upmarket. Now, you don't have to go and spend a ton of money. You can go into a nice hotel, sit down and have a coffee. You might spend 10 quid or something, right? But it's going to put you in an environment that's going to uplift your mood, uplift your mindset, but it's also going to put you in the vicinity of other people. Since being in Dubai, I've met some incredible people. I've met some really dynamic people. I've met some very successful people. My contacts have just like, you know, I've just met some really dynamic people. Same when I'm in central London, you know, I meet some great people over there. So you want to normalize wealth. You want to normalize being in certain environments. Maybe it's the swanky hotel. Maybe it's a private members club. Maybe it's like, you know, going to a posh coffee shop, okay, and sitting there with your laptop and working. All these things will have a direct impact on your psychology. And this leads me really nicely to the next point, okay? One of the biggest things that I've had to do, and people inside my academy do, is you have to shift your money mindset. You have to shift your money beliefs. So many of us have been conditioned to have these hidden limiting beliefs around money. It doesn't matter how wealthy you are right now, there's always going to be a glass ceiling that, you know, goes to that next level, if you like. So it's really, really important to make sure that you are checking in with yourself and checking in on what you think you deserve or how much money you want to make, okay? You know, there was a time when, you know, I thought a £200,000 a year scaffolding company was a good deal. Now I wouldn't entertain that because it's just not enough, you know. We want stuff that's making £1 million net profit plus, and that's only because I've had to raise my money beliefs. And I've had to shift any beliefs that weren't serving me. And the key thing to understand, I've said this earlier on, if I haven't said it in this video, I might have said it in another one, okay, we'll only ever go as far as our belief system will allow us to. So it's essential that we shift our mindset. It's essential that we upgrade those beliefs to more empowering beliefs that will allow us to receive more money, do bigger deals, and that, you know, and have the kind of wealth and lifestyle that we want. Because after all, that's why we're doing this, okay? I don't think anyone wants a bunch of companies just to say, I want a bunch of companies or a bunch of properties. We're doing it all so we can have the income, the freedom to live life on our terms, okay? So money mindset and understanding your beliefs around money, what your limitations are, what was you like, you know, what did you grow up in? What kind of messages were given to you when you was a kid? You know, there's so many like hidden money messages or hidden limiting beliefs that people are given. You know, money's bad, rich people are bad, you know, money's the root of all evil. There's a whole load of these limiting beliefs that get stuck in our subconscious, and they will be there operating in the background without you knowing about it. So it's important that you spring clean and make sure you get rid of those limiting beliefs that stop you, okay? So guys, there you have it. That's kind of I kind of want to give you a quick recap on what we need to do here, okay? So getting your mindset aligned, shifting your identity, Okay, making sure that you understand that your identity is malleable. Remember to act as if when you do make that identity shift, okay, raise your status, okay, make sure that you up your game, okay, in terms of your knowledge, your understanding, how you present yourself as well. Make sure you look smart, make sure you have got nice clothes. Just turn up smart. You need to turn up like the kind of person that can afford to buy the business. Okay, there's no point operating like in your back bedroom and turning up in jeans and jeans and t-shirt and trainers. Okay, it's just not professional. And look, I've got nothing against anyone who is doing that, by the way, in terms of operating from home. I started out from my spare bedroom many years ago. It's just making sure you present yourself in the right ways that you instill confidence into people. Okay, so you need to make sure you raise your status. You need to make sure that you start normalizing wealth and upgrading your money mindset. Okay, so this is what we've done, guys. I think this is going to be like part one of this video series of how to grow group companies, how we've done it. And it's not just me, it's both my business partners involved in this as well. I'll talk about them a little bit more in one of the next videos. Okay, so guys, there you have it. That's what we have started to do. That's probably like the foundations of growing and getting a group of companies together. I'll do more in the next video. If you've liked this video, then please hit that button below, share it, put your comments below, and somewhere around this video there'll be some links. Come and join our Facebook group if you're not in there. I'll also be putting out some new content pretty soon, and a new masterclass, so go check those out. So guys, I'm going to sign off now. It's been great spending some time with you and reconnecting after being off the scene for a little while. Go put this stuff into practice, go out there, build wealth, live your best life, and I will see you on the next video. Take care. Bye for now.